Not bad for a day's work, Minho was quiet. He pulled out a small plant from his pocket. I brought. The alarm started screaming at 4 in the morning. Jinho jolted awake, his military training from Earth kicking in immediately. Beside him, Yura was already at the window, her face pale even for a Valanus. Ships, she whispered. Hundreds of them. Jinho rushed to the window. Outside, space was filled with warships bearing the insignia of Council hardliners. They surrounded New Sol Station like predators circling prey. His communication device exploded with messages. Teho, Minho, Deho, all asking the same thing. What do we do? They are demanding surrender, Yura said, reading from her tablet. All humans involved in the Council testimony must submit to arrest. If the station refuses, they will open fire. How many people live here? Jinho asked. 40,000. Mostly human families. Jinho's blood ran cold. They weren't just targeting him. They were going after everyone. This is Borin, isn't it? He's forcing the Council's hand. Destroy the humans who defied him and prove that emotions make us weak. Yes. Yura's hands shook. My people sent half of these ships. The faction that wants to maintain control. They see what is happening to Valanus who spend time with humans. They see us changing, feeling, questioning authority. They will burn this station before they allow it to spread. A call came through. Station Commander Park Hana appeared on screen. Jinho, we need you at the command center now. The command center was chaos. Officers ran everywhere. Screens showed the enemy fleet positioning for attack. Commander Park stood at the center, her face grim. We have maybe 20 defense ships, she said. They have 300. We cannot win this fight. Then we evacuate, someone suggested. Where? Commander Park shook her head. They'll hunt down any ship that leaves. We're trapped. Jinho looked at the tactical display. The enemy ships were powerful, but they were positioned in a standard siege formation. Predictable, logical, emotionless. Give me communications, he said. All channels. I want every human ship in this sector to hear me. Commander Park hesitated, then nodded. You're live. Jinho took a breath. This is Kang Jinho, engineer, citizen of Earth, and apparently public enemy number 1. He tried to smile. 3 weeks ago, some of us testified before the Galactic Council. We told them no. We said they couldn't harvest us, couldn't steal what makes us human, couldn't treat us like we don't matter, and now they're here to punish us for it. He looked out at the enemy fleet. They think this will break us. They think showing force will make us submit. They don't understand that humans don't work that way. We've faced extinction before. We've stared into the void and laughed. You want to know why? His voice grew stronger. Because we have something they don't. We have each other. We have love. We have hope. And we have this stubborn, stupid, beautiful refusal to quit even when we should. Throughout the sector, human ships began changing course. Civilian transports, cargo haulers, mining vessels, even some personal shuttles. All of them turning toward New Sol Station. They're going to kill us anyway, a cargo captain transmitted. Might as well go down fighting. For Earth, another voice said. For humanity, said another. Within minutes, 200 human ships formed a defensive ring around the station. They were outgunned, outmatched, outnumbered. But they came anyway. In the enemy fleet, Councillor Borin watched the display with cold satisfaction. They gather like insects. We will crush them all at once, fire when ready. But before the order could be executed, something unexpected happened. More ships appeared. Not human. Torvan vessels, small but fast. Makari cruisers, bristling with weapons. Ships from dozens of minor species, all the ones who had stood with humanity in the council chambers. We stand with Earth, the Torvan commander transmitted. You will not destroy them. The enemy fleet hesitated. This was not part of the plan. Inside New Sol Station, Lena grabbed Jinho's arm. I need to do something. Please do not stop me. Before anyone could respond, she broadcast on all channels. Her voice reached every Valanus ship in the enemy fleet. This is Lena, daughter of the Third House, speaking to all Valanus military personnel. You were told these humans are dangerous. You were told they threaten our way of life. But I have lived among them. I have learned from them. And I tell you now, they are the best thing that ever happened to our dying species. She stood straight, tears running down her face. For 300 years we have been empty, efficient but hollow. We removed our emotions and called it progress. But we were wrong. These humans, these beautiful, messy, emotional beings, they can teach us to feel again, to live again. And some of you want to kill them for it, her voice broke. I am crying. Right now, in front of all of you, I am feeling sadness and anger and love and hope, things I was never supposed to feel, and I have never felt more alive. Is this what you want to destroy? The chance for our species to be whole again? In the Valanis ships, something stirred. Soldiers who had been exposed to humans before, officers who had seen the changes in their people, all of them hearing one of their own speak with pure emotion. 3 Valanis ships broke formation. Then 7 more. Then dozens. This is Captain Sola of the Starwind, a Valanis officer transmitted. We will not fire on civilians. We will not kill those who offer us hope. Boren's careful plan was falling apart. On New Sol Station, Deho took command of the defense coordination. His military experience showed. All ships form up. 3 defensive layers. Protect the civilian transports first. Minho managed the life support systems, keeping everything running smoothly despite the chaos. Taiho helped coordinate communications, his musician's ear perfect for managing multiple channels. And then the battle began. The hardliner faction opened fire. Energy weapons lit up space. Human ships, smaller and weaker, dodged and weaved. They couldn't match the enemy's firepower, but they could be unpredictable, emotional, creative. A cargo hauler rammed an enemy cruiser, sacrificing itself to disable a weapons array. A mining ship used its industrial equipment to tear holes in enemy hulls. Civilian transports became shields for the station. Deho's voice stayed calm through it all, directing the defense. Group 7, flank left. Group 3, cover their withdrawal. Remember, we don't have to win. We just have to survive, but the enemy kept coming. For every ship they disabled, 2 more pressed forward. Jinho watched helplessly. They were losing. Slowly, painfully, they were being overwhelmed. We need reinforcements, Commander Park said. We need the Earth fleet. Yura was staring at her scanner. They are coming. Everyone rushed to the displays. Emerging from faster-than-light travel, a massive formation of human military vessels appeared. The entire Earth Defense Force responding to the distress call. But more surprising were the ships behind them. Thousands of vessels from hundreds of species, all the ones who had been oppressed, dismissed, ignored by the Council's major powers, all of them coming to defend humanity. This is Admiral Kim of the Earth Defense Force, a strong voice transmitted. All hostile vessels stand down immediately. You are outnumbered and outmatched. It wasn't quite true. The combined fleet was barely equal to the hardliner forces. But after hours of battle, after watching humans fight with impossible determination, after seeing dozens of species united, the enemy's resolve cracked. Ships began surrendering, then fleeing. Within an hour, the battle was over. Boren watched his fleet scatter. He had failed. Worse, he had proven humanity's point. Emotion had unified the minor species. Logic had divided his own forces. In the council chambers, emergency sessions were called. The hardliner faction was dissolved. New representatives were appointed, and the first act of the reformed council was to establish the Emotional Renaissance Initiative. Not forced, not weaponized, voluntary. Human advisors would help any species that wanted to explore or rediscover emotional depth. The galaxy would never be the same. 3 months later, Jinho stood in the greenhouse that Minho had expanded. It covered an entire section of New Sol Station now. Hundreds of plants from dozens of worlds grew together. Yura worked beside him, planting seeds. She hummed while she worked, a habit she learned from him. Her hands got dirty. She smiled when a flower bloomed. Are you happy? Jinho asked. Yura paused and actually thought about the question. Then she nodded. Yes, I think I am. It feels strange but good. Strange but good. That's humanity in a nutshell. They heard laughter and looked up. Lena and Taiho entered, holding hands. They were officially married now. A real marriage built on love instead of politics. Behind them came Minho with a group of young Valanis, teaching them about plants and patience. Deho followed, carrying food for everyone. Family dinner, Deho announced. Everyone sit. They gathered around a table in the greenhouse. Humans and Valanis mixed together. They ate and talked and laughed. When Deho mentioned his grandmother, he cried as always. But now Yura cried too, and Lena, and several of the young Valanis students. This is nice, one young Valanis said. Feeling sad but also happy. Connected. That is called being alive, Lena told him gently. After dinner, as stars shone through the greenhouse windows, Jinho held Yura's hand. A year ago, this would have been impossible. She wouldn't have known how. "What are you thinking?" she asked him. "That we did it. We changed the galaxy." "No." Yura squeezed his hand. "We saved it." "You save." The Galactic Council chambers were massive. The ceiling stretched so high it disappeared into artificial clouds. Representatives from 200 species sat in curved rows that spiraled upward. At the center was a platform where those who wished to speak could stand. Jinho had never felt so small. "Are you ready?" Yura whispered beside him. "No," he admitted. But when has that ever stopped a human? They had spent 2 weeks gathering evidence. Deho had broken into the Titan facility and recorded everything. Minho had collected testimony from other humans who noticed strange medical scans. Tejo had spread the word through underground channels, and Lena had kept feeding false information through her implant, keeping the council thinking they were unaware. Now it was time to strike. The council speaker, a tall being made of what looked like living crystal, called for order. "We now hear petition 7042. The humans request an audience." "More accurately," Jinho said, stepping onto the platform, "we demand one." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Humans didn't demand things. They were a minor species, barely worth notice. The speaker's crystal body chimed with what might have been amusement. "You may present your petition, human." Jinho activated the hologram projector. Images filled the air above him. Documents, video footage, medical scans. The extraction chamber on Titan. The list of 50 humans marked for harvesting. "The human integration protocol," Jinho said, his voice carrying through the chamber, "was sold to us as cultural exchange, a chance for understanding." But it was a lie. It was always a lie. He showed footage from the Titan facility, the extraction equipment designed to map and destroy human brains, the cold storage units where they plan to keep the harvested neural tissue. "You plan to turn our emotions into a product, to kill 50 humans and harvest what makes us special. And for what? Profit? Control? This is outrageous." A Valanis representative stood up. Jinho recognized him. "High Counselor Borin, one of the most powerful officials in the galaxy. These are fabricated lies designed to undermine the Council's authority." "Really?" Deho stepped forward, his military bearing making several representatives flinch. "Because I have testimony from 3 Council scientists who confirmed the project. They're willing to speak publicly." "Under duress, I am sure," Borin said coldly. "Humans are known for their emotional manipulation. Is that what you call it?" Jinho felt anger rising. "Emotional manipulation? We call it truth. We call it caring about other people. We call it having a conscience." More representatives were standing now. Some looked shocked. Others angry. Many looked like they knew exactly what was happening and didn't care. A representative from the Korvax species, insect-like beings with multiple eyes, clicked forward. "Even if this is true, what is the concern? Humans are a minor species. Sacrificing 50 individuals to advance medical science benefits billions." "Sacrificing?" Jinho stared at the Korvax. "You mean murdering. 50 people with families, dreams, hopes. 50 people who trusted you." "Emotional appeals are not logical arguments," Borin said dismissively. "The Council makes decisions based on the greater good." "Then let me make this logical for you." Yura stepped onto the platform beside Jinho. Gasps echoed through the chamber. "A Valanis princess siding with humans openly. You believe emotions make us weak. You removed them from my people 300 years ago. Tell me, Counselor Borin, how is my species doing?" Borin's face remained neutral. "The Valanis are efficient and productive. The Valanis are dying." Yura's voice was sharp. "Our birth rate is 0.3 per thousand. In 100 years we will be extinct. But you do not care because you are too emotionless to fear death. You cannot comprehend loss because you remove the ability to love." She turned to face the full council. "I spent weeks with my human husband. At first I studied him like an experiment. I counted his emotional expressions. I recorded his illogical behaviors. Do you know what I learned?" The chamber was silent. "I learned that everything we call weakness in humans is actually their strength. They feel pain, so they understand suffering. They feel joy, so they appreciate beauty. They feel love, so they build communities. They feel fear, so they protect each other." Yura's voice grew stronger, "and they feel anger when they see injustice. That is why they are here. Not for themselves. For 50 strangers who they have never met." She wiped her eyes. Tears ran down her silver cheeks. Several representatives recoiled in shock. I am crying. For the first time in my life, I am crying. And it does not make me weak. It makes me real. It makes me alive. Lena joined them on the platform. I was sent to spy on humans, to report their emotional patterns. The council used me without my knowledge, but in doing so, they gave me something unexpected. They gave me friends. Taiho, Minho, and Daeho walked onto the platform together. They stood beside the sisters, humans and aliens united. These men showed me what humanity means, Lena continued. Not through words. Through actions. Taiho shared his music even though it made him vulnerable. Minho saved dying plants because he cares about life. Daeho cried over his grandmother's cooking because memory matters to him. They gave me these gifts freely, expecting nothing in return. She looked at Boren. And you wanted to kill them for it. You wanted to cut open their brains and steal what they would have shared willingly. That is not efficiency. That is cowardice. Boren's expression finally cracked. Anger showed through. You have been compromised by human emotion. Your testimony is invalid. Then let me testify. A new voice echoed through the chamber. A Valanus scientist walked onto the platform. Then another. Then 5 more. All of them wore the insignia of the Council's research division. We worked on the extraction project, the first scientist said. We were told it was necessary, that humans were a threat, but after working with human subjects, we could not continue. They trusted us. They shared their stories, their feelings, their lives, and we were supposed to kill them for it. The second scientist stepped forward. We destroyed our research, all of it. The neural mapping, the extraction protocols, the synthesis formulas. It is gone. Boren's composure shattered completely. You dare commit treason against the Council? It is not treason, the scientist said calmly. To refuse to commit murder. The chamber erupted. Representatives shouting, some in anger, some in support. The carefully maintained order of the Council was crumbling. Jinho raised his voice over the chaos. You think emotions make us weak? Let me tell you what emotions do. They make us survive when we should die. They make us fight when we should surrender. They make us care when it would be easier not to. He looked around at the hundreds of species watching. Humanity has been through hell. Wars that killed millions, diseases that wiped out cities, environmental disasters that destroyed our planet. And we kept going. Not because we're the strongest. Not because we're the smartest. But because we love each other enough to keep trying. His voice grew fierce. You want what we have? You want our resilience? Our hope, our strength? You can't take it. It doesn't work that way. It has to be given. It has to be learned. It has to be earned, he pointed at Boren. And we will teach anyone who asks. We will share what makes us human with any species that wants to learn. But we will die before we let you steal it. Every single one of us. The chamber went silent. Then something unexpected happened. A representative from the Torvan species stood up. They were small, barely a meter tall with fur and large eyes. The Torvan side with humanity. We too are called a minor species. We too have been exploited by the Council. We stand with Earth, another species stood. Then another. Then dozens. All the minor species, the ones dismissed and ignored by the greater powers, rose to their feet. This changes nothing, Boren said, but his voice wavered. The Council majority is crumbling, Yura interrupted. Look around, Counselor. Half the chamber stands with humanity. You have created what you feared most. Unity through emotion. Connection through shared pain. The crystal speaker chimed loudly, calling for order. The Council will vote on the following measure. Immediate termination of the Human Integration Protocol and full investigation into harvesting allegations. All in favor? Lights appeared throughout the chamber. Blue for yes. Red for no. Jinho held his breath. The chamber lit up like stars. More blue than red. Not by much, but enough. The measure passes, the speaker announced. The protocol is terminated. Investigations will begin immediately. Boren stood frozen, his perfect control finally broken. You have made a terrible mistake. Order requires sacrifice. Progress requires difficult choices. No, Jinho said quietly. Genocide requires difficult choices. Progress requires cooperation. And order means nothing if it's built on murder. Boren left the chamber without another word. Several other representatives followed him, but many more remained. As Jinho and his friends left the platform, dozens of representatives approached them. Some wanted to apologize. Others wanted to thank them. A few wanted to learn more about human emotions. Outside the chambers, Jinho collapsed against a wall. His legs were shaking. Yura caught him. You did it, she said. You made them listen. We did it, Jinho corrected. All of us together. Taiho laughed, slightly hysterical. Did we really just tell off the entire Galactic Council? Pretty much, Daiho said. He looked satisfied. Jinho woke up to find Yura standing by the window, staring at her tablet. The light from the screen made her silver skin glow in the darkness. It was 3 a.m. by ship time. Can't sleep? He asked quietly. Yura jumped slightly. I was reviewing Lena's biological data from yesterday. Something strange is happening to her. Jinho got out of bed and walked over. Strange how? Her brain patterns have changed. Parts of her mind that were dormant are now active. It started after she heard Taiho's music. It increased after Daiho's story. By the end of the evening, her readings looked almost human. Is that bad? Yura was quiet for a long moment. I do not know. For 300 years, my people have been one way. Now Lena is becoming something different. Something we chose to remove from ourselves. She looked up at him. What if we made a mistake? Before Jinho could answer, his communication device beeped. A message from Taiho. It was marked urgent. Get to New Soul Station now. Don't tell anyone. Trust no one. Jinho's stomach dropped. We need to go. Something's wrong. They dressed quickly and took Lena with them. The shuttle ride to New Soul Station felt longer than before. Jinho kept checking over his shoulder, feeling like they were being watched. When they reached Taiho's apartment, all 3 men were waiting. Minho looked scared. Daiho looked angry. Taiho just looked tired. What happened? Jinho asked as they entered. Daiho sealed the door behind them and activated a privacy shield. We found something. Or rather, I found something. My old military contacts reached out to me. They said they needed to warn me. He pulled up a hologram display. Files and documents filled the air. The Human Integration Protocol. It's not what they told us, Yura stepped forward. What do you mean? It's not about cultural exchange or helping species understand each other, Minho said quietly. It's about harvesting. The word hung in the air like poison. Taiho pulled up more files. 3 months ago, the Galactic Council discovered something. They were studying human brain patterns, trying to understand why we're so resilient. What they found was that our emotional centers produce a unique neural signature, something that could theoretically be extracted and replicated. Replicated? Lena whispered. They want to turn human emotions into a product, Daiho said bluntly. A serum that could force emotional responses in other species. They could sell it, weaponize it, control it. Jinho felt sick. That's why they arranged the marriages. They wanted to study us up close. Worse than that, Taiho said. He pulled up another document. They're planning to move to the next phase soon. They call it deep extraction. They want to take human subjects and map every neural pathway, every emotional response. In detail. That would kill them, Yura said flatly. The procedure would destroy the human brain. The room went silent. How many? Jinho asked. How many humans are they planning to take? The first round? 50 subjects. All married to aliens through the integration protocol. All living on council ships where they can be easily controlled. Taiho looked at Jinho. You're on the list. Jinho sat down heavily. His mind was racing. We have to tell people. Warn the other humans, and we tried, Minho said. We sent messages to human authorities. They were all blocked. The council controls all long-range communications from this sector. We're cut off. Daiho crossed his arms. There's more. Show them the other part. Taiho hesitated, then pulled up another file. This one had Valanis writing on it. Yura gasped. That's from our intelligence division.
How did you get this?
Does it matter? Taiho asked. Read it. Yura read through the document. Her face, usually so controlled, went pale. No, they wouldn't. What is it? Lena asked. Yura looked at her sister. Lena, who sent you to observe the humans? Who gave you your assignment? The council appointed me. They said I needed to prepare for my own integration marriage. That was a lie. Yura's voice shook. You were sent to spy, to report on human emotional responses. Every interaction you had, every feeling you experienced, you were supposed to document and send back. Lena stumbled backward. No, I would never. I wouldn't betray. You didn't know, Yura said quickly. They planted a monitoring device in your neural implant. Everything you saw, everything you felt was transmitted directly to Valanis intelligence. They've been watching through your eyes. Lena pressed her hands to her head.
Get it out.
Get it out of me. We can't, Minho said gently. It's integrated with your nervous system. Removing it would cause permanent damage. Then they've seen everything, Lena said. Her voice was thick with something new. Guilt, shame. They know about Taiho's music, Daeho's cooking, Minho's kindness. They know that human men can wake emotions in us. They know I'm changing. Jinho stood up. That's why they want to harvest us now. They saw what we can do. We're not just interesting subjects anymore. We're dangerous. We can undo 300 years of genetic control. They will not allow that, Yura said. My people's leaders chose emotionlessness because emotions made us question authority, made us want freedom. If Valanas start feeling again, start thinking for themselves, the entire power structure collapses. Daeho pulled up a map. There's an abandoned research facility on Titan. My contacts say that's where the Council is preparing the extraction equipment. They're moving the human subjects there in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Jinho felt panic rising. We can't get a message to Earth in 2 weeks. We can't organize a rescue. We can't. We can fight, Daeho said simply. Everyone looked at him. We're 3 humans and 2 Valanis against the entire Galactic Council, Taiho pointed out. That's suicide. Maybe. Daeho's jaw was set. But I didn't survive 2 wars just to get dissected by aliens who think feelings make us weak. If we're going down, we go down fighting. That's what humans do. Minho nodded slowly. He's right. Running won't work. They'll find us. But if we can get to that facility and destroy the extraction equipment, we buy time. Time for the truth to get out somehow. Yura stepped forward. I am coming with you. You're a council official's wife, Jinho said. This could ruin you. Good. For the first time, real anger showed on Yura's face. I was told this marriage would save my people. Instead, I find we are enslaving yours. I will not accept this. I will not let them take you. She grabbed Jinho's hand and held it tight. The gesture was still awkward, still new to her. But it was real. Lena moved to stand beside her sister. I will help too. They used me as a spy. They made me betray the first people who showed me kindness. I will make this right. They're still monitoring through you, Taiho warned. Everything we plan, they'll know. Then we use that. A fierce look crossed Lena's face. It was strange seeing emotion on a Valanis, but it suited her. We let them think we are weak, confused, afraid. We feed them false information. And when they are not expecting it, we strike. Jinho looked around at the group. A musician, a gardener, a former soldier, and 2 alien princesses who were just learning to feel. Against the most powerful organization in the galaxy. This is insane, he said. Probably, Daeho agreed. Got a better idea? Jinho thought about all the humans on the list. 50 people who thought they were building bridges between species. 50 people who didn't know they were marked for death. He thought about what Daeho had said earlier, about how humans break and heal over and over. Okay, he said. We fight. But we do it smart. We gather evidence. We sabotage their operation. And we make sure the truth gets out no matter what. Taiho grinned. Finally. I was getting tired of just playing music. Minho pulled up blueprints of the Titan facility. I may be a gardener, but I used to work in bioengineering. I can disable their equipment if we can get inside. Daeho cracked his knuckles. Leave the getting inside part to me. They spent the rest of the night planning. Yura used her council access to pull facility information. Lena fed false reports through her implant, making it seem like she was still loyal and unaware. Taiho used his connections in the music scene to quietly spread warnings to other humans. As dawn approached, Jinho looked at his unlikely team. You know we might not survive this. Everyone dies eventually, Daeho said. The question is what you die for. I would rather die feeling something than live feeling nothing, Lena said firmly. Yura squeezed Jinho's hand again. You taught me that love is worth fighting for. Now I fight. In that moment, Jinho understood why the Council feared humanity. It wasn't their strength or intelligence. It was their stubborn refusal to give up. Their willingness to fight impossible odds for people they cared about. And now that fire was spreading to others, the conspiracy had made one fatal mistake. They had brought humans and aliens together, hoping to harvest what made humans special. Instead, they had created something they couldn't control. They had created hope. New Sol Station orbited Europa like a giant metal flower. Its petals were different districts where humans from Earth lived and worked among the stars. Jinho felt excited as their shuttle approached the docking bay. He hadn't seen his friends in months. Beside him, Yura sat perfectly still. Behind her, Lena looked out the window with wide eyes. Lena was younger than Yura, maybe 20 in human years. She had the same silver glow to her skin, but her eyes were lighter, almost pink instead of purple. "Are you nervous?" Jinho asked Lena. She turned to look at him. Her face showed nothing. "I do not experience nervousness." "That is an emotion." "Right. Sorry." Jinho rubbed the back of his neck. This was going to be interesting. The shuttle docked smoothly. As they walked through the corridors of New Seoul Station, Jinho noticed Lena's head turning constantly. She was watching everything. Humans rushed past laughing and talking. A child ran by chasing a ball, screaming with joy. An old woman sat on a bench crying while her friend hugged her. "There is so much noise," Lena observed. "So much disorder." "Yeah, we're pretty chaotic," Jinho admitted. "But it's not disorder. It's just life." They reached the cultural district. Music poured from open doorways. The smell of cooking food filled the air. Street vendors called out to customers. It was loud and messy and beautiful. Jinho led them to a small apartment above a noodle shop. He knocked on the door in a rhythm. 3 quick knocks, paused, 2 slow knocks, the door flew open. "Jinho!" Lee Taeho stood there grinning. He was tall and thin with long hair tied back. He grabbed Jinho in a tight hug, lifting him off the ground. "You jerk. You got married and didn't even invite us." "It was arranged by the council." "I barely got invited myself," Jinho laughed. Taeho set him down and looked at Yura and Lena. His expression softened. "So you're the famous wife. And this must be the sister." He bowed politely. "Welcome to our humble home." Inside the apartment, 2 other men waited. Park Minho stood by the window tending to small plants. He was shorter than Taeho with gentle eyes and dirt under his fingernails. Choi Daeho came from the kitchen wearing an apron. He was built like a soldier, broad and muscular, with scars on his arms. "Ladies, meet my best friends," Jinho said. Taeho is a musician. Minho grows things. Taeho used to be a soldier, but now he cooks. Lena stared at them. "You are soldiers, scientists, and artists? All in one small dwelling?" "We're roommates," Minho explained softly. "And friends. We share this space because living alone is lonely." "You fear loneliness?" Lena asked. "Everyone does," Daeho said from the kitchen. "Even people who say they don't." Taeho grabbed a guitar from the corner. "Jinho said you wanted to understand human men. Well, you came to the right place. We're all pretty emotional guys." He winked. He sat down and started playing. The music was soft at first, gentle notes that seemed to float through the air. Then it grew stronger, sadder. The melody twisted and turned like it was telling a story without words. Lena stood frozen. Her eyes were locked on Taeho's hands moving across the strings. "What is he doing?" "Playing music," Yura said. "No." Lena shook her head. "I know what music is. We have music on our world. But this is different. This makes me feel—" She pressed a hand to her chest. Strange inside. Taeho looked up and smiled. "That's the point. Music isn't just sound. It's feeling translated into notes." He played a different melody, this one bright and happy. "This is joy." Then he switched to something dark and heavy. "This is anger." Then soft and sweet. "This is love." Lena's hands were shaking. "Stop, please stop." Taeho immediately set down the guitar. "Sorry, too much? I do not know." Lena looked at her hands like they belonged to someone else. "My scanners are showing unusual readings in my biology. My heart rate increased. My temperature changed. What is happening to me?" Jinho stepped closer. "You're feeling something. Maybe for the first time. But my people removed emotions. This should not be possible." Minho walked over carrying a small flowering plant. "Maybe they're not gone. Maybe they're just sleeping. Like this plant," he held it up. "I found this little guy almost dead on a station. No water, no light for weeks. Everyone said it was dead. But I gave it care and time. Look at it now." The plant had bright red flowers and green leaves. Lena touched one leaf carefully. "You saved something that should have died." "I gave it a reason to live again," Minho corrected. "Water, light, attention. Maybe emotions are the same. Maybe they need the right conditions to wake up." Daeho called from the kitchen. "Food's ready. Come eat." The table was covered with dishes. Kimchi, rice, stew, grilled meat, vegetables. The smell was incredible. They all sat down, and Daeho started serving everyone. As he put food on Lena's plate, his eyes became wet. Tears rolled down his cheeks. Lena jumped up. You are leaking. Are you damaged? What? No, I'm crying. Daeho wiped his eyes and laughed. Sorry, I always cry when I cook this stew. It was my grandmother's recipe. She died 2 years ago. Every time I make it, I remember her. You are sad? Lena asked. Yeah, but also happy. This food is a memory of her. When I cook it, she's alive again for a little while. He smiled through his tears. Pain and joy all mixed together. That's human life. They ate together. The men talked and laughed. They told stories about their childhood on Earth. They argued about sports and music. They teased each other and shared their food. Lena watched everything with intense focus. Slowly, very slowly, her face started to change. When Taiho told a funny story about getting chased by a dog, the corner of her mouth twitched upward. When Daeho talked about losing his grandmother, her eyes became bright with unshed tears. Yura noticed too. She leaned over to Jinho. Something is happening to my sister. She's waking up, Jinho whispered back, like Minho's plant. After dinner, they moved to the living room. Minho showed Lena his greenhouse through video on his tablet. He explained how he talked to his plants every day. They don't talk back, he said, but I think they listen. I think they know someone cares. That is not logical, Lena said, but her voice was uncertain. Love isn't logical, Minho replied. That's what makes it powerful. Taiho played more music. Taiho told stories about his time as a soldier, about friends he lost and battles he survived. The three men were completely different from each other, but they fit together perfectly. Late in the evening, Lena stood up suddenly. I need to ask something. You feel everything. Pain, joy, loss, fear, love. All at the same time. How do you function? How do you live with so much chaos inside you? The three men looked at each other. Finally, Jinho answered. We don't have a choice. Feelings come whether we want them or not. So we learn to use them. Sadness teaches us what matters. Fear keeps us alive. Joy reminds us why we keep going. Love gives us something to fight for. And when the feelings are too strong? Lena asked. When they hurt too much? Daeho stood and put a hand on her shoulder. That's when you need friends. That's when you need people who understand. You don't carry the weight alone. Lena looked at his hand on her shoulder. Then she did something that shocked everyone. A single tear rolled down her silver cheek. I think I understand now. Your strength is not in being unbreakable. Your strength is in breaking and healing over and over. Together. Yes, Jinho said softly. That's exactly it. Yura stared at her sister crying. Something shifted in her expression. For just a moment she looked almost sad, or maybe jealous. It was hard to tell. As they left that night, Lena kept looking back at the apartment. Can we return tomorrow? Of course, Taiho called after her. You're welcome anytime. On the shuttle back, Lena was quiet. But when Jinho looked at her, he saw her eyes were different. Brighter. More alive. Thank you, she whispered, for showing me this. That's what humans do, Jinho said. We share what we have, even when it's messy and complicated. What none of them knew was that Lena's visit had been monitored. Somewhere in the depths of the Galactic Council, her biological readings were being analyzed. The readings that showed her dormant emotional pathways activating. The readings that proved something dangerous and valuable. Humans could wake the emotions in species that had lost them, and some people wanted to use that power for their own purposes. The conspiracy was already in motion. Kang Jinho stared out the window of his new quarters aboard the massive ship called Destiny's Hope. Stars stretched endlessly in every direction. He still couldn't believe this was his life now. 3 weeks ago, he was a simple engineer fixing cooling systems on Mars colony. Now he was married to an alien. His wife's name was Yura. She was beautiful in a way that seemed almost unreal. Her skin had a slight silver glow and her eyes were large and purple. She moved with perfect grace, never stumbling or making unnecessary movements. Everything about her was efficient and precise. The problem was that Yura barely seemed alive. She didn't laugh at his jokes. She didn't smile when he tried to make conversation. When he asked how she was feeling, she looked confused by the question. At first, Jinho thought maybe she just didn't like him. But after a week of living together, he realized something more strange was happening. Yura was studying him like he was a science experiment. She carried a small tablet everywhere and made notes. When Jinho laughed at a funny video, she wrote something down. When he got frustrated trying to fix the food processor, She recorded his words. When he hummed while working, she stopped and listened with intense focus. Why do you make sounds when no one asks you to? She had asked him once. You mean humming? I don't know. It just happens when I'm happy or thinking, Jinho explained. Yura wrote that down too. The marriage was part of something called the Human Integration Protocol. The Galactic Council had arranged it. They said it would help humans and aliens understand each other better. What they didn't tell Jinho was that he would feel so lonely while married. On their 8th day together, things changed. Jinho was making dinner in their small kitchen. He was cooking kimchi stew, one of his favorite foods from Earth. The spicy smell filled the quarters. He was chopping vegetables and talking to himself, something he always did when he cooked. Okay, garlic goes in now. Mom always said 3 cloves minimum. More is better. Garlic makes everything better. Who are you speaking to? Jinho jumped and nearly dropped his knife. Yura stood in the doorway watching him with those big purple eyes. Oh, nobody. I just talk to myself sometimes. Helps me think. He laughed nervously. You speak to yourself frequently. Approximately 47 times per day based on my observations. Why? Jinho stopped chopping. You've been counting? Yes, I count many things about you. Your emotional expressions vary greatly throughout each day. You display happiness, frustration, sadness, excitement, and anger, sometimes within the same hour. It is fascinating. Fascinating? Jinho felt a bit hurt. Is that all I am to you? Something to study? For the first time, Yura's perfect composure cracked slightly. She looked down at her tablet, then back at him. No, you are my husband. But I do not understand what that means. My people, the Valanis, we do not have emotions like yours. We removed them from our genetics 300 years ago. We believed emotions made us weak and inefficient. Jinho put down his knife and turned to face her fully. And now? Now my species is dying. Yura's voice was flat, but Jinho thought he heard something underneath it. Sadness, maybe? Or was he imagining it? We are efficient, but we do not form bonds. We do not love. We do not want to continue living. Our birth rates have dropped every year. In 100 years, there may be no Valanis left. That's terrible, Jinho said softly. Yes. The Council believes humans may be able to help us. You are not the strongest species. You are not the smartest, but you survive everything. Wars, diseases, disasters. You lose everything and you keep going. They want to understand why. Jinho stirred his stew thinking about this. I guess we feel things deeply. When we lose someone, it hurts. But that hurt reminds us they mattered. So we keep living to honor them. When we're happy, we want to share it. When we're sad, we support each other. Maybe that's why we survive. We're not alone even when we're lonely. Yura wrote furiously on her tablet. Then she looked up at him. I need to ask you something. It may sound strange. Stranger than being married to an alien princess? Jinho smiled. Try me. My sister Lena has also been selected for the integration protocol. She will marry a human in 3 months, but she has never been around human males. She has never seen emotions like yours. On our world, males do not express anything. They administer tasks and make logical decisions. That is all. Okay, Jinho said slowly, not sure where this was going. Yura stepped closer, and for the first time she looked uncertain. I am failing as your wife. I can see that. I watch you try to connect with me and I do not know how to respond. I do not want Lena to fail too. So I must ask this favor. She paused, her hands gripping the tablet tightly. Will you help my sister gain experience with human men? Teach her what your kind is like before she must bond with one. If she understands humans, perhaps she will not struggle as I do. Jinho blinked. Of all the things he expected her to say, that wasn't it. You want me to... What exactly? Talk to her? Yes. And introduce her to other human males. Let her observe your friendships, your conversations, your emotional expressions. Let her see what being human means before she is thrown into marriage unprepared. The request was unusual, but Jinho understood the desperation behind it. Yura was trying to help her sister avoid the same confusion and isolation she was experiencing. In a way, it was the first really emotional thing Yura had done since they married. I have friends on New Sol Station, Jinho said. Good guys. We could visit them. Let your sister meet them, see how humans actually live. Would that help? For the first time ever, Yura's face changed. Her eyes widened slightly, and the corners of her mouth moved upward. It wasn't quite a smile, but it was close. Yes, that would help significantly. Thank you, Jinho. We're married now, he said gently. Helping each other is part of the deal, right? Yura nodded slowly. She looked at her tablet, then set it down on the counter. She took a step toward Jinho and did something unexpected. She reached out and touched his hand. Her skin was cool and smooth. She held his hand carefully like she was handling something precious and fragile. I am trying to learn, she whispered. I do not know if I can ever feel what you feel. But I am trying. Jinho squeezed her hand gently. That's all anyone can do, try. They stood there in the kitchen holding hands while the kimchi stew bubbled on the stove. It wasn't much. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was a beginning. And sometimes, Jinho thought, beginning was the hardest part. Outside the window, stars continued their endless journey through space. Inside the small quarters, two people from different worlds tried to understand each other. It was a small moment in a vast galaxy. But small moments, Jinho knew, could change everything. He didn't know it yet, but agreeing to help Yura's sister would start a chain of events that would shake the entire Galactic Council. It would expose dark secrets and force humanity to prove their worth to the stars. But that night, all he knew was that his wife had asked him for help. And he had said yes, that was enough for now.